Teachers of Reddit, what was the best excuse for being late that turned out to be true? MTV paid me $50 to fill my backpack with cement and carry it around for the day. I accepted that excuse. Student later regretted it, as a replacement backpack and college textbooks far exceeded $50. But he got his moment of fame and I didn't penalize him for his tardy. Gotta live a little. When I was student teaching, I was late because there was bunch chickens in the middle of the road. They wouldn't move at all. This is in the middle of a city of 200,000 people. Freaking chickens. I finally get to school and profusely apologize to my mentor teacher and I told her why I was late thinking it sounded ridiculous. She said, "Yeah, those chickens are ducking assholes, they surrounded my car in the McDonald's parking lot last year. Don't worry about him." Not the teacher, but we were told that he had a paramedic student who on their way to write their final exam rolled their car into a creek, picked up whatever books they had out of their car and ran the rest of the way to class. Obviously got there late and in tears. You better believe they had a different exam date. Not a student, but one of my teaching assistants when I ran a preschool in West Philly. "Sorry I missed yesterday, my friend shot my mom." Naturally, I'm a little speechless. "Oh no, it's okay, he was aiming for someone else." After 9/11, my small town high school received bomb threats every week for 2 months, and they decided to make us attend school on a Saturday. Myself and about 5 others showed up for our classes, and every teacher said something like, "I can't wait for the excuses on Monday." Most of the excuses were something along the lines of family plans or whatnot, but one kid was made read his dad's note aloud to the class because our first period teacher thought it was hilarious. In the most down south accent you can imagine, it went something like, "My son ain't too smart, but he knows you ain't supposed to get punished for someone else being a dumbass. Bought him a 6-pack, so he was drunk. Y'all can duck off." I wish we had smartphones to record back then so I could share it. I had a chemistry professor show up about 15 minutes late. Just when people were about to leave, he shows up and explains that he was just in a car accident, his car had been in a rollover and he still showed up. He said he was okay. He drove a Volvo. In high school I biked to class. One day I hit a rock and ate absolute shit. I obviously got to class late. Before I could say a word my teacher stopped class and said, "Thank you for finally joining us, why are you so late?" I raised my heavily bloodied hands and elbows. It must have looked bad because she audibly gasped and rushed me to the school nurse, apologizing non-stop the entire way. What was sexy 10 years ago but isn't now? My hairline, damn, 10 years makes a difference. 10 years ago if your girl said, "Does my butt look big in this?" you said no. When I was in high school there was one year where every girl at my school suddenly started wearing a feather in their hair. Did anyone else experience this or was my high school weird? Concealer lips, orange foundation, and a heavy-handed black eyeliner look. Using the word sexy in marketing/digital teams to describe sleek interfaces or products. The hair bump/puff for girls made popular by Jersey Shore. I always thought it looked trashy but it seemed like everyone did it. That and too much bronzer. Fake tan? I think every time I go out, not so often, but anyways, I seem to see less and less orange ladies wearing fitted tap-out and Hot Topic type clothes with all those skulls, flames and swords. Apple-bottom jeans. The ones without any back pockets. Every NHS would wear these. A Harvey Weinstein job opportunity? I feel like women's casual wear in general is always sexier than it was 10 years ago, and it's starting to make me feel old. I imagine when I'm old I'm going to comment on some lady's outfit being really revealing and my grandkids are going to roll their eyes and say something like, "You're so old-fashioned, grandpa, her asshole isn't even open." 10 years ago was when the Jersey Shore was big. I would say a ton of things from that, like the fashion, hair, GTL, and the fist pump. I remember seeing so much Ed Hardy around when that show was popular. Okay, this might be a little more than 10 years ago, but women's thongs riding up. I remember in middle school I used to watch those butts like the playoffs. A sleeveless dress that cut straight across the boobs and then straight across the knees, paired with black tights, potentially a chunky belt and a short cardigan with really tight arms. Wearing Hollister/Abercrombie & Fitch apparel with the brand plastered across the whole shirt. It used to be sexy/cool, but now I don't see anyone caught dead in it. Granted, I'm not a teen and don't hang around teens anymore. The Karen haircut. Facebook. It was cool, exclusive and exciting. Now it's full of adverts. Data scalping and your grandparents. Weird emo haircuts, pretending like you cut yourself to be edgy. Evanescence, the first Android phone. Lol edit. To those of you saying we're not talking about 20 years ago, this is all shit. People around me were super into late 2009, early 2010. Also to the people sharing your emo stories from back then, thank you. There is some good shit in my inbox. Today I ducked up by eating way too much of a pot brownie. This was a few weeks ago, but the repercussions can still be felt. I am a high school senior who is having some fun in their final year of high school, so naturally, I have been smoking a bit of weed with my friends overnight most weekends, as you do. We had tried edibles before, but only had taken 75 milligrams max, and we didn't get as much out of it as we hear people have gotten. Now, 4 of my friends and I were at my house on a Saturday night planning to eat a pot brownie one of us had acquired. So we waited until my parents had gone to sleep and at around 10:30 decide to chow down. I am quite stoic about being really safe when it comes to stuff like this. That's why whenever we smoke it will be in the evening and somewhere we can stay the night or catch an Uber from to avoid driving. So me being me, I asked my friend a lot of questions about how much was in it and how long we will be feeling the effects for, as he is far more experienced than any of us, or so I thought. He said there was about 1000 milligrams, so 200 each, which is a pretty insane amount for stupid teenagers who have either never done this or done very little. However, he reassured us that it's a normal amount and we should stop feeling the effects fully about 12 to 14 hours after. Now, here comes the part where I get ridiculously high. We split it up into rough fifths and knew it wouldn't be distributed evenly, so we decided the heaviest people should take the middle, thicker pieces, and the smallest should eat the outside pieces. Fair enough. I grabbed the duck in fat middle piece and shoved it all in my mouth. Now, there's a possibility I had just slammed 300 milligrams of THC into my empty stomach, and about half an hour later that shit hit me all at once. I was sitting on the couch watching my friends play Mario Kart Wii when I started to feel it, and 2 minutes after that I told them it might have been a bad idea because the television screen had already started wobbling. 10 minutes later, one of my friends who for some reason wasn't at all affected started prompting me to join whatever conversation was going on. I started to look towards him, but literally the act of movement was so overstimulating it was insanely uncomfortable and anxiety-inducing. So he walked over to me and looked me in the eyes and asked what was wrong, and the moment he got a good look at me he knew I was already out visiting Voyager 2. He was also quite worried because he felt my heartbeat, which was at about 150 at that point, and saw my breathing quicken every second due to my internal freakout. I was able to sputter out the words "help me, bed." He basically carried me upstairs to my room, which was a feat, as he is a 140-pound tall and skinny Indian dude and I'm a hefty 195-pounder. I then proceeded to lie in my bed staring out the window looking at what seemed to me like one of those big brain memes, you know the ones I'm talking about. I passed out for a couple of hours and woke up at a point that I was able to walk and kind of hold a decent conversation, only to discover the brownie guy passed out on the bathroom floor post throwing up, and another friend who was carried by the same Indian dude to our pull-out couch in the front room. Out of the 2 friends left, there were Indian dude and another friend who didn't really feel anything that night. After waking up at about 10 in the morning, I discovered brownie guy buggered off via Uber at about 6 in the morning for whatever reason, which only added to my growing annoyance, and Indian dude and couch friend still at about a 3/10 along with me. However, that friend who didn't feel anything the whole night was at about the level I was when I was carried to bed and maintained that way until a very unhappy mother of his had to come to pick him up because he couldn't drive himself home and had promised to be home by noon. My mother had already figured out what was up and was probably more amused by our general stupidity and seeing me still moderately high along with my friends who stayed the day to let it wear off than she was mad about the whole situation. My repercussions weren't that bad, just my mom asking me not to get high at home, which was rather surprising to me. But mother who had to drive home her kid was literally threatening the brownie kid with a lawsuit since he is 18 and some of us are 17, and he provided the drugs. Long story short, those two can't be in the same room together without a legal battle at risk, which makes it pretty tough for us to hang out as of right now. Overall, I probably have more emotional trauma from being ungodly high than I have damage done to any of our friendships.
Hey, if you want to see more similar videos like this one on daily basis, definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on your notification to see our tomorrow's even better video.